I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either.
Yes, political correctness is out. American exceptionalism is back, ready to re-empower our republic as one nation under God by restoring our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, with your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet, baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts of the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos. All right, how we doing out there tonight? All across this great republic and around the world, it's that time once again for the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. Hey, we're hoping that you had a great Christmas holiday, and it is still called Christmas around this house, and we're glad to have you with us, and just hope you got everything that you were looking for, and maybe some of the things that you weren't, you know. We're glad to have you. I had a very, very interesting week off here. If you were tuning into the show last week, you heard all pre-recorded excerpts from some of the great speeches and debates of days gone past, as we coined the phrase, and I hope you enjoyed those. But we're back live. We'll be live 3 days this week, Monday through Wednesday, and then we'll be off again for the New Year's to celebrate the upcoming New Year. And if I could just take one last shot here, probably the last time you'll hear me mention this. Coming up 2017, we're looking for a white Christmas. All right, I got a lot of heat over making a comment on Facebook about a week ago. You know, after I got a campaign letter from the Obama administration wanting me to sign the Christmas card for the Obamas while they were in the White House, their last white Christmas. That was the way they coined the phrase. I think it was White House Christmas. Maybe my just Freudian slip there when I analyzed it, but I thought, hey, you know, tried and true. Why don't we just take a little parting shot at the man? And so I posted Bing Crosby's White Christmas, and immediately got responses from all the liberals out there who do follow us about what a racist bastard I was. So I think, okay, well, I hit the mark. I proved my point, and I got it across.
You know, they better not follow too damn close.
I offended the ones that I intended to offend. And it's really funny because there were quite a few conservatives that just, hit the like mark. They just liked it. Some of them even shared it. But okay, but the liberals always have something to say because they are the self-ordained, self-appointed PC police.
Oh yes,
and you're just taking it. That's a low blow, John. Low blow. Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, it was. I said, yeah. I even boasted when I put it out there. I said, this is just in response to the Obama administration's entire divide and conquer administration.
Yeah, absolutely. You remember, elections have consequences, and we won. Ha ha!
Yeah. In the words of Kellyanne Conway, we won. So anyway, so I just and when I posted it, that's what I said. I said, this is I'm just responding to the request by the Obama administration's organizers to wish him his last white Christmas. So I did, and you guys can take this any way you want. I don't really care. And it led to quite a dialogue between a few of them, but it was something else. Anyway, how was your Christmas, Joe?
It was wonderful. It was actually, quite the day was weather-wise was outstanding, and and as far as family-wise, everybody had a good time. The kids got all their presents that I think they probably wanted from Santa Claus, and so it's good. I mean, I've had far worse Christmases, and so yesterday was a really good Christmas Sunday. I mean, it's nice to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ.
Yes. It was probably one of the coldest Christmases we've had out here for quite a while. And I'll tell you how cold it was. We ended up going down to Ontario, to visit our middle son, one of the middle sons, and his new wife. He just got married earlier this year. And we went over there because it was my daughter-in-law's mother's birthday. So we thought, okay, we'll go over there instead of you guys coming down here. And we drove by Corona, where our other contributor lives, Bob Cardosa. And behind him were the foothills.
Oh, yeah. There's snow up in the foothills?
Oh, yeah. He lives right at the base of the foothills down there in Corona. And they were snow-covered. So that was unusual, because that means the snow had to come down to about 2,500 feet, which is really uncommon here in California. Usually got to go up to 5,000 or more to get the snow. But, it was right behind his house.
Hey, you know what else, John? You know what else made it a really great Christmas? Was the events of November 8th, 2016, when Hillary Clinton was not coronated as president of the United States.
Yes.
And in 24 days, 5 hours, 52 minutes, and 55 seconds, Barack Obama will be over. So, yes, it was a great Christmas, John.
Yes, it was. And it was so great. And the Obamas were where they belong, down in Hawaii. So all was well with the world. And
that would be even better if Hawaii wasn't a state in the United States.
Yeah, I'm just hoping, the Obamas bought a house out here in California.
Well, good, because I heard that you guys are leaving the union anyway. So
yeah, maybe he could become the first president of the real social republic of California.
Yeah, Eureka! You probably have to change the state motto and everything.
Yeah. I mean, because he's heartbroken. Apparently, he's heartbroken because he can't actually run for a third term. He was in an interview the other day. Said it once again. I could have won a third term because I could have articulated the message that would have brought America together. I'm like, hey, asshat, you've had 8 years to articulate the message, and what have you done? All you've done is divide the country. But this guy, you know what I think of when I see the guy now? I think of Napoleon Bonaparte. The only thing that's missing is somebody ought to give this guy Michael Jackson's jacket. You know those old uniform jackets he used to wear?
You mean like Sergeant Pepper's?
Yeah, and pin a bunch of those big, huge medals. I mean, huge medals on his.
He should, go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and get the Beatles Sergeant Pepper's outfits.
Yeah, give him a sequin glove, and and just let him. Let this guy just rule whatever planet he wants to rule.
Oh, yes. Just 24 days, 5 hours, 51 minutes, and 4 seconds now.
Yes. Oh, this tells you here. I bought one of these Obama countdown clocks.
Yes.
And it's off by 2 days.
It's off by 2 days?
Yeah, according to mine, he's only got 22 days left.
Oh, that was only true.
Yeah. Maybe they were didn't adjust for leap year or something. I don't know.
Probably the Y2K was. Well, it can't be the Y2K virus. That was way after that.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So what we're going to do the 3 days that we're on this week, we're going to do our top 10. We do this every year in the show. Top 10 conservative and liberal quotes of the year. We're going to start with the liberal quotes as we always do. And a couple of things I want to clarify here about how I went about choosing these.
It's kind of funny, John, before you go on, because we didn't get together like we said we were going to do and discuss any of these, but your number 2 quote was my number 10 quote.
Oh, really? Yeah.
No, actually, my number one quote. But so we were actually thinking pretty much alike on a lot of this. So anyway.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. We're going to have all of our contributors on this week, with the exception of Jonathan Dunn, who's over in Ireland, won't be with us until next year. But coming first week of January, second week of January, somewhere around there, he'll start his regular stint with us. But that was the thing. I want everybody to kind of give me their feedback on what they thought. You know, my list is not set in stone. It's just set the way that I saw things, and because everything that I listed, as far as the Liberals go, reinforced or lead into one of the stories that they tried to pound into our heads out here, the propaganda. Most of them are tied into pieces and issues that became propaganda for the election season. But the conservative side was a little harder because I made it a point that I had to only select from conservatives. And since there's so few of us left now, I don't believe any of the presidential candidates outside of Donald Trump made my list at all.
I couldn't find, that was the hard part. I could find plenty of liberal stuff, but like you were saying, the true conservative quotes was a difficult task to even come up with any of this.
Yeah, and especially, when I looked at places like National Review and Town Hall Daily and some of the other publications that I normally would go to, a lot of those people proved not to be conservatives either. So I think the only one,
and we were tied to the 2016 calendar year. Now I can find a lot of conservative quotes from history, but a lot of those folks are dead.
Yeah, so that was a little more difficult. But the liberal ones, most of them are going to go. They're split up between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, just because I just thought it fitting to have the outgoing president and the one who was believed to be the incoming president. And Hillary Clinton did such a great job of just exposing the stupidity of the average liberal. So a lot of them went to her, but they all led into other issues. That's the point. I didn't want to just say, there's a couple in there that are just funny. But most of them I wanted them to be somewhat relative. So we're going to start that today. Excellent. Yeah, we'll have some fun with it. And feel free to come into our chat room at the conservativesyndicate.net. You can hit on our chat room if you've got anything out there that you want to add to what we're doing during the shows for the next 3 days. We got to go to commercial. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We got a good show for you today.
A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. The conservativesyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 $20 a month. Dish, call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you have been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
We're not arguing. We're explaining why we're right. The Conservative Syndicate, where right is never wrong. All right. Hey, we're back, and this is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And if I could, just before we get through the list here, how do you think we should do this? Should we just read through it first and then cover them one by one? What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, we go, start with your number 10, and then we should probably talk about that one because as I'm going through this, we should probably give it some context.
All right. Well, I'd prefer to start from the number 10 and go down to the number 1.
Yeah, let's do that. Number 10 and 10, 9, 8, and then 1 is the one that shoots us to the moon, Alice.
Yeah, but if I can, just before we get going here, I forgot to put this into my notes here, but I just was reminded by somebody out there in social media. I want to mention real quick. One of the things you're going to see or hear on this show more as we go into the next year are more comments. I'm going to be making more comments and offering more commentary, excuse me, on activity that's going on in the church, especially in terms of political activity and their involvement or lack of involvement in the culture, stuff like that. And also I'm going to start calling out churches that are just on the verge or well into the area of apostasy, just because this is the kind of stuff that has undermined our republic. This whole idea of rebranding God and redefining what Scripture says and everything else. And I just want to talk about this just for a couple of minutes, and we'll get into the top 10 list. One of the biggest mega churches out there, Andy Stanley. Now, I'm North Point Community Church. Now, I have to be honest, I've never really heard of this church. But apparently he's got a very large congregation, over 35,000 people in Atlanta, down there in Atlanta someplace. 36,000 attendees across 6 locations in suburban Atlanta, okay? But he made a statement in one of his sermons, I guess, just recently, that Christianity doesn't hinge on the truth or even the stories around the birth of Jesus. It hinges on the resurrection of Jesus. So what he's trying to say is, it's not really, in fact, as he said here, if Jesus was not born of the, he says, how did he put it here? He said, let me put it down here. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the way he put it was that he says, he didn't have a problem with people who doubt the biblical Christmas story, because it's not so much about Jesus' birth that matters. It was his death and resurrection which brings Christians into the kingdom of God, or people.
Well, if you're not born, you can't die.
Yeah, well, and that was the whole thing. And the reason I bring it up is because it really kind of lit off a conversation over the week. I posted it out there on Facebook. You know, here's another asshat moron who's been deceived by his own fame. See, once these guys, they get to a certain place, and what they do is they have to, I don't know what happens to their mind, but what they do is they just start separating themselves from real doctrine, from scriptural doctrine. And I don't know if it's because they want to repackage everything and try to present themselves as being above the norm, or, you know, a super spiritual special dispensation of understanding or whatever. But if you don't have a virgin birth, then the death of Jesus was irrelevant.
Thank you.
Completely irrelevant.
Yeah. If without the birth, then the passion of the cross is nothing. I get what the passion, Christ dying for us does, but without him, you can't die without being born.
Well, no, he wasn't saying it didn't matter. He wasn't saying it didn't matter if Jesus was born. What he's saying is it was okay to discount the idea that he was born of a virgin.
Oh, get out of here.
Okay, no, what he's and this. So this is the point. And I want to make the theological point here because it's really important.
I'm glad I didn't get involved in this before, because my brain would have been. I just had to put duct tape all over my head.
Yeah, well, this is the case, and this is what's wrong with the church today, is that there's so many different versions of doctrine, and it's to fit whatever draws people into the church.
To make them feel good about themselves.
Yeah, you got to feel good. You got to have programs. You got all this stuff. Of course, it's all about, and getting rich. You tithe so that you can get rich. You don't tithe because God told you to. It's you tithe so that, it's an investment. It's like playing the stock market, that kind of stuff. But here's the deal. Virgin birth. The bloodline comes through the man. If Jesus had been born of a man, through the bloodline of a man, then his blood would have contained the same sin that has separated man from God. Therefore, the blood would not have been a worthy sacrifice. Therefore, he would not have the power to resurrect. Okay, the blood is everything in Christian doctrine. People don't talk about the blood because, it's icky gooey. We'd rather talk about vampires and werewolves and zombies when it comes to blood. But the point being is that the blood of Jesus was what? Blood without sin. And God can't stand in the presence of sin. So if Jesus had the blood of a man in him, then he could not have offered that as a fitting sacrifice for the redemption of man. It wouldn't have happened. He would have been guilty. The Bible tells us what? He died without sin, and that was because the blood was not from a man. He was conceived through the Holy Spirit into a virgin. The bloodline always comes through the man, and so there was a pure bloodline given by God. Okay, so it's just amazing, though, because some of the comments I got on these people are agreeing with them. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Jesus died. He died. He died for us. He died for sins. Yeah, but he had to offer his blood as a sacrifice. That's the whole point of him dying. Okay, so I just wanted to correct that because this is the kind of stuff that then leads into other doctrinal errors like homosexuality is an acceptable lifestyle because, after all, it's all about love. That kind of stuff. This crap has got to stop. And so I'm just making it a point. We're going to call it out on this show wherever I find it. And I expect to have a lot of comments about some of the other people out there that I comment more regularly. Mr. Joel Osteen, who to me, I followed his father's ministry when I was coming through Bible college. And I can tell you right now, John Osteen is turning in his grave at some of the crap his son is spewing out from the pulpit. It's amazing. T.D. Jakes is all but a black liberation theologist. Nobody wants to call him that. Creflo Dollar, Kenneth Copeland. These people have really, really bastardized the gospel, and they've done it for gain. And I think they all. They're like politicians. They all start out with the right intent. They're all gung ho, and I think they're all let's do this for God. But then at some point in time, the money starts rolling in and they become corporations, and now everything is about protecting the investment.
Yeah.
So, So anyway, So Mr. Andy Stanley has now joined my list of apostates that has about 36,000 followers that are going down the wrong path. And one thing I always tell people like this, or when people talk about this, the Bible tells us that teachers will stand a stricter judgment before God. That those of us who are out there preaching the gospel, we will be held accountable for what we say and how we lead sheep down the wrong path. So, I don't expect to see people like this unless there's some drastic change in their thinking. People like this you're not going to see them at the banquet table of God. They may be the guys doing the dishes in the back room or something, but they're not going to be, God is not going to be sitting there heaping praise about them. Yeah, man, your point about Jesus not being born of a virgin is really solid, man.
That's not going to happen, dude.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. All right. I don't want to spend any more time on that because we got 3 days to get through this, and if you listen to the show, we never get through anything in one show. So.
Yeah.
All right. We'll start out with the liberal quotes, okay? And
idea.
Okay. Let's see. Yada yada. I got the. Oh, wait a minute. Number 10 is I've got the wrong guy. It wasn't Anthony Bourdain who said this. So we got a screw up here right from the start.
Oh no.
Okay. I'm trying to think of who said this though.
Well, he could have said this. He's the kind of guy that would say this. In fact, he's Anthony Bourdain. He just said that he's not going to go to eat in any restaurants in any Donald Trump property just because it's Donald Trump's property.
Oh, no, it was Anthony Bourdain. I was saying that the quote about Lenin is in another quote that I had.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That was Steve Bannon, which is in our conservative list out there. Okay, so I just got him crossed up because he makes a reference to Lenin also. Okay, so here it is. Number 10 is from Anthony Bourdain. This is in an interview with Salon magazine, the very liberal rag out there. One of my favorite liberal rags because these are the guys that walk the fringe. And he says, I think it was Lenin. He was commenting on the election of Donald Trump.
Yes.
And he says, I think it was Lenin who said one of my favorite lines, on the train of the revolution, we will lose the liberals at the first turn. It's always worth remembering. In any revolution, whose heads are going to be on the pike first? Us. And shortly after that, the originators and founders of the revolution. Anthony Bourdain, in an interview with Salon magazine, December 23rd, just a couple days ago. And he was commenting on how worried he was about the election of Donald Trump and what it was going to do to the liberal progressive movement.
Well, I would hope it squashes it into nothingness, but that's wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah, well, the reason I really quoted this because, where else would liberals go as a reliable source of intelligence and commentary than a cook?
Yeah, chef.
Okay,
Not
cook, by the way.
A chef is a bad thing, but really?
Yeah, I mean, and we're talking about a cook that spends most of his time going around the world trying to find different types of snails to eat. That kind of stuff. I've watched his show. I've seen his show. I've watched his show, and he goes around the world looking for unusual dishes. That kind of thing. He's kind of like that guy, drive-ins, diners, and dives or something, but it's kind of on steroids. And so I'm thinking, that's why it caught my eye. The first thing was, oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, let's go to the cooks. Let's go to the reality show host. Barack Obama's out there telling us that the presidency is not a reality show. So let's go to the reality shows to get opinions about the president.
Yes, why not? And then be so upset about Donald Trump winning an election that you refuse to dine in any place that it resides in a Donald Trump property.
Yeah, and I thought
doesn't matter if the food is any good or anything, just because it's located because Donald Trump owns the property, can't go there because that guy Donald Trump is so evil.
Yeah, it's amazing me. One of the things I'm hearing now, they were going to have the Rockettes at his inauguration thing, and some of the Rockettes don't want to go because they think Donald Trump is sexist. And I'm thinking, okay, you get up there on the stage and flash your ass out there in Vegas-type costumes and you shake your bottom and you stick your boobs out and everything else, but you're worried about dancing for somebody who you deem is sexist.
Yeah.
Okay. That's that's idiocracy in an example. Idiocracy in practice. I kind of look at it. The other little one I put here, kind of a side quote. I liked probably the best of all this. The reality of this election is that we can choose between a disappointing Democrat and the end of the world. And that was by Mr. Will Wheaton. If you might remember him, he was on Star Trek, the kid.
Yeah, exactly. He's such a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
It's right up here, and this is, again, with President Barack Obama. Yeah, the soon-to-be ex-president. Yay. This year, the election, I'm asking you to join me to reject cynicism, reject fear, to summon what's best in us, to elect Hillary Clinton as the next president of the United States, and show the world we believe in the promise of this great nation. So reject cynicism, reject fear, and summon what's the best of us. And what have we seen out of the Hillary Clinton supporters in those of like mind? Have we seen nothing but cynicism, fear?
Yeah, and not only fear.
Notice exactly who they are.
Fear, paranoia. It's paranoia. It's not fear. It's paranoia.
Yeah. So, but that was right up there with one of my quotes.
Okay,
on this,
that was one of yours. All right, we got to go to commercial here. We'll be right back and continue with our top 10 liberal quotes today. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest. Who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and like them on Facebook and you'll be included in contest and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Expand your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Expand your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830. 888-383-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame. He owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get the Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world. Then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474.
Not arguing, we're explaining why we're right. The Conservative Syndicate, where right is never wrong. All right. Hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, and it's that time of the week here where we're going to hook up with our good buddy and Robert Cardoso, who's right now doing a simulcast over in his neck of the woods here. So let's get him hooked up here with us and get him added to our call here. And it says here that our call failed. Here we go. I just tested all this out just before we went on the air, and it's amazing. It's just amazing. We had this thing running. We had it just perfect. Okay, well let me do this while we're doing that. Joe, why don't you reiterate what you were talking about, because I kind of cut you short when you were talking about your top 10.
Oh, with the Obama quote. Let me go back to that. I had to pull that back up. Let me give me just a moment. It was just because it was just so much fun. And this is Barack Obama again at the Democrat Party National Convention, which was I think they were in Philadelphia, if I remember right. Yeah, Philadelphia. You know, the birthplace of freedom. Anyhow. Sorry. Let's see. Again, the quote was, "This year, in this election, I am asking you to join me to reject cynicism, reject fear, to summon what's best in us, to elect Hillary Clinton as the next president of the United States and show the world we still believe in the promise of this great nation." So, and what have we seen out of the supporters of Hillary Clinton? But nothing but cynicism. And as John said, fear, hell, they're paranoid to the point. But, you got Martha Raddatz after on election evening just crying on television, breaking down. You got Van Jones. I believe Van Jones is on your list. If I don't remember, I might have seen this before. It was a white lash, nothing no cynicism there at all. And that's what's the best in us. So the Democrats have shown us all too well what's the best in them.
There is no best in them, John.
That sounds like Bob Cardoso.
How you doing, Joe?
I'm good, Bob. Merry Christmas, man.
Well, Merry Christmas to you, too, and a Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, sir.
So is John on with us or not?
I thought he was. I mean, it says he's here. I see his little picture.
Yeah, I am. I'm with you here. I had to turn my mic down here when I tried to get you on the phone here, Bob. I didn't want anybody hearing my my voice in the background. Okay, all right. Yeah, we're starting our top 10 here, and we got the first one out here that we thought was pretty appropriate. That we have to go to our reality show shifts to get the right perspective on the election of Donald Trump. We're talking about Anthony Bourdain, who thinks that the liberals now are going to the conservatives or the Republican Party is going to put the liberals' heads on a pike. It's basically we're going to become the impalers. Okay, that kind of stuff. He says that.
Yes, Donald the Impaler. Yes.
Yeah. You know what? There are so many people out there that ought to stay doing the things that they're good at, and instead of trying to get into politics or trying to analyze politics in any way. Anthony Bourdain ought to just stay on his travel show, eating things that he doesn't cook himself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said maybe he should stay to do the things he was good at. Was he good at being a chef? Maybe
No. I said eating things that he did not cook himself.
Yeah. I was saying the same thing. He goes around the world trying to find different versions of snails. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he actually he did an interview with Barack Obama, believe it or not.
Yes, he did.
I don't know what they talked about because I didn't think it was worth watching, but I remember it being advertised.
But, he didn't, but he doesn't want to be into politics, but he'll never go into a restaurant that's located on a Donald Trump property, though.
Well, that pretty much limits where he can go.
Well, here's my point, Bob. I try to use quotes that lead into bigger issues here. Mm-hmm. And the bigger issue, of course, what he's talking about is that the liberal movement is going to be all but killed off now that Donald Trump is the president. Now, this guy obviously doesn't have any understanding of how liberals operate. These people do not die. They do not go away. As much as we wish they would, they won't.
Well, no, what the thing is, nobody is giving Donald Trump the credit where it actually belongs. And the truth is that, he's been playing us from the very beginning. He's been playing the game better than anybody else, including these so-called experts at politics. Everybody's dumbfounded, including the media. They don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, Donald Trump now is communicating with the general public via social networks because he doesn't trust the press, which actually, and now if you start listening to what's going on, the press is starting to soften up on him. They really want to see if they can't become friends with him again to get insight as to what's going to be happening into the future.
You hit on something here, Bob, because this is something that I thought I was just reading an article yesterday, just kind of trying to kill some time and looking for some things to look at here, and sure enough, there's this article over at CNN, and they were talking about the fact I guess apparently Donald Trump had promised a press conference in place, and then at the last minute he backed out. He didn't. Mm-hmm. Okay, the thing that's pissing the media off is that he's using social media to put out whatever he wants to say. And so the media is kind of like, well, we're not getting any substance. We're not getting, there's no depth, okay?
What are we here for? Come on, we're standing over here. Please acknowledge us as being what we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You know what? And everybody is playing into it. And I think the guy is a genius. He's going to get everybody behind him. He's letting the public know. He's still doing his rallies to let people know that he's in charge. And then, as far as the liberals are concerned, it's not that he needs the liberals. The liberals need him, and so he's going to make them come to the table, and he's going to negotiate, just like he said. He's going to negotiate some damn good deals.
Yeah, well, I like the last. This is Robert Cessno over at CNN, and he's just incensed that Donald Trump isn't holding press conferences so that the media can put him to task. Okay, and then he goes on to say, well, we know that the media isn't trusted by the public, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't talk to us anyway. And
well, you know what I think is going to be interesting? He's probably going to start riding on Air Force One, since it's got all the communication stuff that he needs. But it's going to be an empty plane because he's not going to let anybody from the press on it.
Awesome.
Yeah. I was
and check it out. Maybe he might actually not go every damn place in the world that he doesn't need to go, and actually save some money. That I mean, he actually. If I saw a thing the other day where his inauguration day and Barack Obama's inauguration day, in comparison, Trump is not going to do anything near what Obama did as far as going to all these parties and galas, they called them.
No. You know what? And I'll tell you something that Trump's going to do. He's going to say to everybody. First of all, he's got Netanyahu on his side already. He's already got China kind of buckling a little bit to see what's going to go on. North Korea is starting to get their feathers ruffled a little bit because they don't know what's going to happen if Trump plays hardball with China. Russia, Putin is already kind of calming down a little bit. The big test is coming up for Trump, but the truth is these guys are all starting to back off a little bit, and Trump is going to say to them, hey, look, you want to talk to me? You want to make a deal? This is where I'm at. Come on over here.
Yeah. Well, I think Joe hit a good point there. You're not going to see Donald Trump spending all his time flying around the world on vacations and fundraisers and all the other stuff like I hope that's what we see. We don't see that kind of thing, but I think he's going to run the whole show from Jersey.
You know what? Here's the deal about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a successful businessman who his joy in life is business, is making the deal. He doesn't take vacations. He doesn't want to take a vacation. Everything is about the deal, making progress and winning. And I think that he's going to take that right into the White House.
Yeah, well, I think that's the sign of a successful person is when what you do because you love doing it, and it doesn't seem like work. Where Barack Obama made public speeches in between vacations and fundraisers. It's a whole different mentality. The last paragraph of this article, though, I thought is just classic liberalism. Mr. Trump, let journalists gather and ask you those snarky questions. Get in the ring and endure the testing and the confrontation, the sparring that defines our democracy. Show the world that the President of the United States is accessible, accountable, and willing to explain, defend, convince, and cajole in an open forum with people whose job it is to report his every move. And I'm thinking, when did you guys do that with Obama?
Yeah, thank you. When did that become your job to report this every move? Your job is to go ahead and actually find something new of worthy news.
Yeah, and they reduce everything to 100.
Well, hey, Joe, I've got some news for you. Contemplate this for a little bit.
Okay.
Obama has right now about 21 days left in office.
Well,
and he's going to spend 15 of them in Hawaii.
Seconds. He has 24 days, 5 hours, 12 minutes, and 37 seconds.
and he's going to spend 15 of those days in Hawaii on vacation.
Yeah.
But it's very busy. He's working. He has the football with him.
Yeah. Well. All right, guys, we got to go to a break here.
I think he's good at a basketball, but not a football.
Yeah, we got to go to a break here. We're over our break time here. We've got Bob Cardoso with us. We'll be right back, guys. Stay with us and just stay with us. I'm trying to talk and think at the same time. I got to give up doing that. We'll be right back, guys. There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. The Conservative Syndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring. We're not arguing, we're explaining why we're right. The Conservative Syndicate, where right is never wrong. All right, hey, we are back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I am your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hagos, and we've got Bob Cardoso from Robert Cardoso Live with us right now. We're going to starting our top 10. Let me move down to number 9 here. We can get
but before you do that,
okay.
John, Joe had said something about Obama having the football with him, and the truth is he's really just a caretaker of it, not a user or a potential user of it. When the tension is going to be drawn up about 100% when that football starts following Donald Trump around.
Okay.
It's going to be fun. I mean, it's just like, that crazy cowboy Ronald Reagan,
Yeah.
Giddy up, cowboy.
Yes, absolutely. All right, I want to get into this next one. This is quote number 9, our number 9 liberal quote of the year. And as I said, I chose some of these quotes because they lead into bigger topics or bigger issues. This is from Lawrence O'Donnell, MSNBC or MSLSD, depending on how you look at that station, November 9th, the day after the election. And I remember hearing this. I actually, as I was channel surfing the night after the election, I heard this. Or actually, November 8th. It was the night of the election. I'm sorry. My dates are mixed up here a little bit. I'm using my Obama clock, which is one day off. So, okay. Lawrence O'Donnell, America is crying tonight. I'm not sure how much of America, but a very, very significant portion, and I mean literally crying. I've gotten texts from a college campus, of course, about a dorm that's just in tears. I know of another that I'm hearing from elsewhere, and some of the people who we're just talking about are crying from California to Massachusetts about this. Lawrence O'Donnell on MSLSD out here on November 8th, the night of the election. Well, it's actually November 9th. Because it was after, 2 o'clock in the morning when they called the election. Okay.
Yes, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time. Something. It was late into the evening on the 9th.
Yeah.
Or actually, early morning on the 9th. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, so then what we heard from that subsequently is all the campuses out there in the universities and some of the job sites. I think Pepsi-Cola was one that popped up here. Ordered in therapists for her employees. We've got Legos and therapy puppies and crayons and coloring books and flowers out there on the university campuses. Really, Bob,
I just don't get it, guys. Everybody's complaining about that, and that's the very first campaign promise that Trump is intending to keep. He has them all crying. That's creating new fresh water for all these blighted areas and drought areas. What more can the poor guy do? He's damned if he doesn't, damned if he doesn't. All those clean tear ducts are going to be good for the country. But the truth is, it's a big lie. People are not that upset. There may be a handful that are, but I think, they got to give the guy a chance. I'm just dying to see what he can get done in that first 100 days. I think you're going to see some kind of a monumental record for what actually gets accomplished in the first 100 days of a presidency.
Well, one of the things you had mentioned earlier in our conversation, Bob, about the inauguration not being, a big blown up deal the way that Obama did. It wasn't. It was a coronation with Obama. It was, or an immaculation, I think, as Rich Limbaugh referred to it. I think Donald Trump may be low key on the inauguration because he's going to spend the first night undoing all those executive orders.
He's going to be a busy guy. He's going to be working.
Yeah, he might just be. It might be a working holiday. All right,
and you know, and all of these so-called celebrities that they're I don't know that they're really saying no or anything. I don't even know if they got invited. But the truth is, who the hell needs them anyhow?
Yeah, well, you know, think about what we have in our society today in terms of entertainment. I mean, there really is. It's all C and D list actors, and because they're C and D list actors, they get elevated to A list level by default. There's nobody out there. You know, I think about it. I was thinking about this the other night. How many, compared to how many new movies that are out there? I mean, new original screenplays and stuff, and how many movies are just rewrites of movies in days past?
You know what, John? Think about this for a minute. Donald Trump spent less money becoming president of the United States than Barack Obama spent on his inauguration parties.
Yeah. And probably part of it had to do with the fact he was spending most of his own money, and he's prudent. You know, he's and you don't, and he do. I mean, you mentioned earlier, there are things about Trump I don't like. I don't particularly care for his form of articulation. I think he's got a major English grammar problem. Okay.
Oh, I agree with you there. Yeah. I agree with you. He does not communicate well.
But that doesn't seem to change the fact that he's able to get his point across, and that he's able to get it across to people in a way that they want to hear it. So I give him that. But the man knows how to use the resources available to him, and nobody that I can even think of with me. I'll give it to John Kennedy because he was the first. Him and Nixon were the first ones to do debates on TV. But Trump mastered using the media without having to pay for it.
Oh yeah. I mean, can you imagine? Here's that's part of why the media is pissed off at him, right? Yeah. Because the truth is,
well, because they spent all their
they gave him billions of dollars worth of free publicity. He just walked them right through it.
Well, they're all crying to the bank, though, because they were all doing it for ratings. So they were making money off of it, even though he didn't pay them anything.
Well, you know, Joe, you're absolutely right, because think about it. When he would threaten to not show up for a debate or to not go to an interview, then the ratings went right down into the tubes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that he said, and it might be on my list here later on down on my list here, but, you know, like when CNN was reporting when they did the debate, CNN was reporting, these are the best numbers we've ever had. And Trump said, "Yeah, it's 100% because of me."
And the fact is, it's true.
Yeah, the guy knows. He knows. Here's the thing: you listen to some of these celebrities out here. The thought that came to my head here was Britney Spears. She did a video years ago where she was alluding to the fact that, she dressed up like a little schoolgirl or something like that. And there was all this big outrage about she was condoning, being a pedophile or something like that. Mm-hmm. And she said, and I hear this all the time, Michael Jackson was good at this too. Well, this isn't really who I am. This is just the brand. This is just, we create the brand. So, I'm a little schoolgirl, little Lolita type, and all the old men get all aroused when they see me and my little skirt and everything and that kind of thing. And, we'll lambaste Donald Trump for talking about women the way that most men talk about women in the locker room, that kind of stuff. But the point being is that They talk about brand, and Trump knows this. I mean, his show, The Apprentice, was all about creating a brand, for crying out loud. Nobody, so he knows how to do that.
And you know what? And even Trump has said, there's a difference between, Trump the show and Trump the businessman.
Yeah, and there is. So anyway, by the way, we're out of our time here with you today, Bob. I'm sorry.
You do this to you do. You do this to me twice a week.
You guys can
you just don't manage your time well, John.
That's this damn Skype that's driving me up a wall. Okay. You guys can catch Bob Cardosa at robertcardosalive.com and go to his website, find out his broadcast times and everything else. I appreciate you being on today, Bob.
Oh, it was a joy for me. Very safe and prosperous New Year, and we'll talk to you next year.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Okay, guys, the top of the hour here. We got time. Here's the Edwards Notebook. We'll pay some bills, and we'll be right back.
Is America being plagued by slobs or liars? Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, as an American, I am embarrassed by the millennial generation display of utter disdain for America, the rule of law, and common decency.
However, the real blame for the young adult crybabies on college campi throughout our republic and the nighttime streetwalkers who seek to kill the American dream, steal our national joy, and destroy private property lies with the hippy-dippy-era parents who raised them along with the legions of government school educators who did their best to indoctrinate students against authentic American history, real science, Judeo-Christian ethics, and even the traditional family. It is comical to witness individuals who claim great fear over the possibility of Trump harming Muslims, immigrants, LGBTQ people, and minorities. First of all, Trump consistently called out illegal immigrants, Muslim terrorists, LGBTQ activists, and other progressive groups who were not genuinely seeking equal participation in America, but are working to overcome our laws and ultimately destroy our way of life. And that's the truth of the matter. I'm Ron Edwards.
Blowing away the myths and revealing the truth. You can continue to blow away the myths with Ron Edwards on Facebook, Twitter, and theronedwards.com.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right. General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either.
Yes, political correctness is out. American exceptionalism is back, ready to re-empower our republic as one nation under God by restoring our unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, with your host, John Matthews.
It's a latter-day prophet, saying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts of the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos. All right. Hey, we're back. Hour 2 right here at the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives, and we're glad to have you with us today. Excuse me, little hoarse in my throat here. Like I said, this winter out here in California is really, I'm really enjoying it, but it's really different from past winters. I don't think the temperature out here has gotten over 50 degrees in the past 2 weeks. And we've had a lot of rain. We got more rain coming. It's just, so much for the climate change argument, right? The climate is changing because weather does change. And, that's just, that's the way it goes here. But it's giving me a little bit of a sore throat because I'm not used to it. It's kind of like being back east and having to drive on black ice, that kind of stuff. Anyway, glad to have you with us, and we're doing our top 10 liberal and conservative quotes for the year. We're doing our top 10 liberal today, and probably we'll run into tomorrow. The top 10 conservative will be a lot easier to cover. One, because they're quotes from real conservatives, and they're very self-explanatory. And you don't have all the, all the glib and the glab and all the, you don't have to decipher and interpret everything and then apply it in proper context, like you do with liberal quotes and things like that. I want to go back to number 9 here on our list because we didn't get to really cover it the way I wanted to. As I said, the quotes I chose was based on something that they alluded to bigger issues, that kind of stuff. But before I do that, Joe, what was number 9 on your list?
My list was a Donald Trump quote from the 9th of November.
Okay.
And, of course, it came from Twitter. And it goes, such a beautiful and important evening. The forgotten man and woman will never be forgotten again. We will all come together as never before.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm just curious how that fits. You just combined everybody then.
I was just going with everybody. Top 10 quotes.
Okay.
That's all I was doing because I was having trouble just, if you're trying to find a conservative, I could have just went through a lot of them for the conservative. It was just like, holy cow, these guys are off the deep end. Yeah. And as we said throughout the better part of the last part of this year, it's like that's not real conservatism going on here. And in fact, that's not even. It must be on a Democrat side of life. And so it's kind of like this is really hard to get through a lot of this stuff. You could have went with there was a lot of Glenn Beck quotes where like, holy cow, Glenn, this guy is not the second coming of freaking Hitler. Give it up now. I don't know about you guys. And here in Florida, we try to have a hurricane kit in case, the power's out for 3 days or so, or, just have enough food and water on hand and cash and, gasoline, that kind of thing. I mean, Glenn Beck's like, get enough supplies to last 6 months.
Yeah, I know. He's Glenn Beck. I somewhere along the line, he's like he's kind of like these pastors we talk about in mega churches.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, they get lost in their own uniqueness, and what they do is they begin to turn into something other than what they originally were. I think that's part of the reason Fox News got kind of bent having him on their network for towards the end of his stint there, was that he starts going off in the deep end. He's kind of like, is almost like a cross between Al Franken and Alex Jones. It's it's like you never know what side of the fringe he's going to be on anymore. And I never really bought into the complete conservative side of his thinking anyway. But I lost interest in him when he became the self-ordained patron saint of Israel. And it started going, it would spend days and days talking about Abraham. There's a lot of good things about Abraham, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned. But they don't reply to republicanism, all right, in a lot of ways. So anyway, I just, I lost a lot of respect for the guy. I think he's kind of, out there somewhere trying to rediscover that niche that he had that made him at one time one of the most respected conservative figures around. But now, doesn't happen. The other one, one guy that didn't make my list, and I'm really kind of regretting it now, was Mark Levin.
Yes, I was going to mention Mr. Levin. At least I'll give him credit. He's also said he's willing to give Trump a chance.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Mark Levin was. Are you talking about Beck?
No, I'm talking about Levin after the election, not before the election. Now, after the election, Levin is. He's at least going to give Trump a chance. But I'm going to be watching him though, and he's done nothing but be snarky about his picks and everything else, though. So
Yeah.
You can't tell if these guys are. Is it just about ratings? What is it going to be?
Well, Levin was pretty much like on the same train of thought that we were, and that is that he's better than Hillary Clinton, but we're certainly not getting a conservative. Okay, and that's really what Levin's mindset was. He was like us. We did the same thing. We talked the same way as Levin in terms of, Trump is. He's got a history of liberalism. He's got connections. He is an establishment type, whether people want to admit it or not. He's played the game on both sides of the aisle. He, that kind of stuff. And we were apprehensive about it. It's just as we came up closer to the time where we actually had to make a decision, you and I more jumped on the Trump bandwagon saying, anything's better than Clinton. So that kind of thing. And I think up to this point, Trump has really kind of surprised a lot of people in his selections and some of the direction he's going. Now, he's also showing some of the direction that we feared in terms of his more liberal side. But, what I can tell from what I'm seeing so far, he's got two things on his agenda. And one is get the economy going and stop ISIS. Those seem to be the two most important things to him. Things like Planned Parenthood and all that other stuff, I think is going to, he'll hand that over to Congress. If they want to deal with it, send me the bill, I'll sign it. But you're not going to see him out there, as the pitch man kind of thing, because there's more important things on his docket than Planned Parenthood and same-sex marriage and all that stuff. Which, anyway, oh, geez, we're over our segment here. I'm having so much fun today. I'm completely not looking at the time. We got to do our commercials. We'll be back. We got more for you here because I do want to expound on what Jill said. So we'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you have been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Little America doesn't have an anger problem. It's got an idiot problem. The Conservative Syndicate, doing our part to eradicate the disease of idiocracy. All right. We're back, and this is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. Do want to send out a word of encouragement to you to visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. You can pick up this show, any of our shows, and find out more about what we do and why we do it, who the people on our team are. Got some great new additions coming up 2017. Scott Faulkner, who will be with us this Wednesday. Jonathan Dunn, who's over in Dublin, Ireland. But he'll be off. We won't hear from Jonathan again until next year, right after the holidays here, because he's tied up with things going on over in his personal life over there, and that's what the holiday season's about. So the conservativesyndicate.net. Now, back to Joe's comments here. With Donald Trump talking about, unifying the country. And it's in line with that, I was just listening to an interview. Barack Obama is out there in Hawaii right now on his last taxpayer-funded vacation, And he was doing an interview out there talking about how he feels pretty confident that he could have won a third term if the Constitution allowed such a thing to occur. And the thing he was saying was, the way he was putting it was that, he's so much better in articulating the liberal progressive message than Hillary Clinton or anybody else, that kind of thing. I could have articulated the message in such a manner that, people would have grabbed on. Okay, well, yeah, you fooled us twice, or you fooled America twice, or a good segment of America twice.
Whoa. I tell you what, he fooled, John. He fooled Black America twice.
Yeah. You fooled,
let's say for what it is.
Yeah,
he
you fooled
Black America twice, because if Black America would have came out for Hillary Clinton like they did Barack Obama, then it would be President-elect Hillary Clinton now.
Yeah, absolutely right. And the fact is, he said he did say that it would be an insult. He would take it personally, a personal insult to his legacy, if the Black community did not get up and vote for Hillary. So I guess you're insulted. And in the same light, now he's got to try to defend everything. There's a lot of things going on here. He's kind of leaving. He's got this scorched earth policy, trying to pass all these things, banning oil drilling, doing away with the registry, Muslims having to register if they're under 25. All these things. He's trying to put major speed bumps in the road to hinder Donald Trump from undoing everything. But the point being, the bigger point is that you had 8 years to articulate your message. And the fact that you're now sitting there saying that, basically the reason why Hillary Clinton didn't win the election is because she's not capable of articulating a message. But in line with what you're saying, Donald Trump wants to unite the country. And let's not forget, that was the same message we got from Barack Obama, that he was going to unite the country. But he was, we are the change we've been waiting for, that kind of stuff. But he's done nothing but divide the country in such a way that even liberal media elitists will admit to a certain degree that the country is more divisive now than it probably has been since the Civil War, for crying out loud. But the reason why, of course, is not Barack Obama's fault.
It's everybody. Of course not. It's not his fault.
It's those deplorables and irredeemables out there. And we'll get into that later. I don't want to give away the bag here, because I do have a quote that leads into that topic here. But so in line with that, my quote number 9 here, which we were talking about just before Bob went off the air last hour, Lawrence O'Donnell talking about America crying, literally crying.
Literally.
Okay, and he's getting messages and emails from college dorms. Okay, so that tells you even if that was true. See, I'm beginning to believe, I'm buying into this fake news narrative. And I'm thinking that these guys probably just make up their own little groups and their own they've got their own little demographics that they make up. I mean, what college kid wants to listen to Lawrence O'Donnell? I mean, even as dumb as college kids are today, who wants to listen to this guy? This guy is just a whiny. He's a whiny Ed Schultz. He's just, if you ever listen to the guy, I get perturbed. He's like that kid in school that you always want to walk by and just smack upside the head just because he looks funny, that kind of thing. Maybe who's the other guy? Carney. Was it Jay Carney? Robert Gibbs. The first press secretary for Obama. I was saying, this is a kid we used to dump in the trash can upside down all the time in the locker room, that kind of stuff. But anyway, back to my point here. I'm digressing, getting into my negative thoughts here. The idea that people are just literally crying from California to Massachusetts. Now, what happened subsequently after that, of course, was we had all the safe spaces reactivated, and even more is created out there across university campuses. If these are the kids that are going to one day determine our future, we have a major problem if they can't even handle election results. I mean, okay, so your gal didn't win, all right? Our guy didn't win in 2008. He didn't win in 2012, but we didn't go into this massive hysteria. We were out there talking about how, the country's going to really get hurt because of Barack Obama. Let's not be cynics about it or nothing.
Well,
I mean, we weren't, huddled in the corner, looking for cookies and milk, pajama boy kind of stuff. We were like, okay, how are we going to stop this? Okay, yeah, we got our ass kicked. And we got our ass kicked for a good reason. It's because too many of us were complicit and complacent for too long. And that's what happens when you create a vacuum and let somebody like a Barack Obama come in with his mojo swagger and
change, hope and change.
Yeah, and Mr. Cool, that kind of stuff. Yeah, America has been asleep for too long. Yes, we returned to the sleeping giant after basically right after the Kennedy administration. We became the sleeping giant again. And people like Jimmy Carter set LBJ, Jimmy Carter set the foundation. Bill Clinton kind of amped it up a little bit, and Barack Obama put it on steroids. And we all sat around thinking, well, hey, he can't do this. He can't get away with this. He can't do that. Well, yeah, but he did. And he did it because he understood. He didn't spend his years studying the Constitution because he was a constitutionalist. He studied the Constitution because he was a Marxist. And he said, how do I circumvent this Constitution, this charter of negative liberties, as he used to phrase it, that kind of thing. So anyway, so what I did was I looked up a couple of articles just to kind of refresh your memory what was going on out there shortly after Donald Trump was elected. Cornell University had a cry-in. Everybody got together and cried. Yale University had a group scream. Everybody got together and screamed at the same time. All right. University of Michigan Law School had a post-election self-care event with food and play, including coloring sheets, Play-Doh, positive card making, Legos, and bubbles with your fellow law students. Yeah, these are the kids we want in our courtrooms today. What are you going to do if you don't win your case? Are you going to have to go back into the jury room and play with your Legos, before you can come out and face the world again? I mean, come on. Psychological counseling at Stanford. The psychological counseling that needs to be going on in our universities isn't about election results. It's about the psyche of these kids to begin with, for crying out loud. University of Pennsylvania, Trump's alma mater, by the way, post-election safe space with puppies and coloring books. The therapy dogs, okay? And then the Cornell Daily Sun, which is the publication of Pennsylvania University, they wrote their reactions and emotions on poster boards with colored markers or with chalk on the ground. Come on, people. I mean, we're talking about young people who are somewhere in between, 19 and 30, depending on where they're at, as they seek their degrees in nothingness, their PhD in nothingness, or their master's in nothingness. And these guys can't even handle an election result? How are they even in the slightest way going to deal with any of the adversity that life has prepared for them? Because life has prepared for you adversity. I don't care who you are. I don't care how rich you are, how famous you are, how much you think you know everything. Life is a series of adversities, and you've got to deal with those. Tufts University offered arts and craft, and University of Kansas reminded the students that there were plenty of therapy dogs available. So, yeah, Lawrence O'Donnell may have been right. Maybe the millennials out there all across America were crying in their beer, which, by the way, is what most university people do these days, is just hang out, party, free condoms. They kind of make the 60s, the sexual revolution of the 60s in some regards, look tame. Some of the things that are going on out there today. But that's the point of this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lawrence O'Donnell was right. A lot of America was crying, and that's because a lot of them were crybabies.
Well, not around where I was hanging out, I wasn't crying. If I was crying, it was because it was just joy and happiness.
Yeah, well, I was singing White Christmas. So, All right. Here's let me close this segment out with this remark here from Frank Farides. University of Michigan President Mark Chazelle wrote to his faculty and his students. Our responsibility is to remain committed to education, discovery, and intellectual honesty, and to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We are at our best when we come together to engage respectfully across our ideological differences to support all who feel marginalized, threatened, or unwelcome, and to pursue knowledge and understanding. There's an oxymoronic statement if you ever want to hear one. We're here to support all you who feel marginalized, threatened, and unwelcome, and we'll do it by ostracizing everybody that disagrees with us. And we'll call that knowledge and understanding. There you go. I mean, you got the blind leading the blind. We are well into the movement of idiocracy in this country, and a lot of it has to do with our institutions of education out there right now. Having said that, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we'll continue here with our top 10 liberal quotes for the year. We'll be right back.
There is...
State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got. Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and like them on Facebook and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, safety, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame he owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get the Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474, 866-657-8474, 866-657-8474, 866-657-8474.
Little America doesn't have an anger problem. It's got an idiot problem. The Conservative Syndicate, doing our part to eradicate the disease of idiocracy. All right, we're back. And this is the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we are doing our top 10 for the year. Started out today with our top 10 liberal quotes, and by the looks of things, we'll probably get about halfway through this, which really kind of is good for us.
Yeah, it really is.
And then we'll cover the rest of them tomorrow. Like I said, Wednesday when we do the top 10 conservative, it'll probably move a lot smoother, just because we don't have to interpret or try to decipher between the lines. Conservatives speak very forthright and are very forefront in their words, and so and I was like Joe. Joe, I probably spent more time, almost double the time, looking for conservative quotes than I did for liberals.
Yeah, especially this year. I mean, it was just like, really?
The big thing is that all
conservatives acted more like liberals this year.
Yeah, well, the big thing is if I can use kind of a something that we use as a racial stereotyping, but I'm going to put it in a different frame of thought here. Liberals all sound alike, and so it's just a matter of picking out which one you want to listen to. They all say the same thing because they all have they ingest talking points from a central location. That's what central planners do.
Well, I mean, there was some emails that were brought out to kind of talked about that this past year.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you can take one quote and you can find 80 other liberals that said the same thing. Maybe a little bit differently, but the message is all the same. Whereas conservatives, since we're individual thinkers, it's sometimes, a thought can only be attributed to the person that's saying it, that kind of thing. And that's why it was a little bit difficult for me. I think the only other presidential candidate that I used in my conservative quotes was Carly Fiorina.
Yes, I saw that,
and that really had nothing even to do with the campaign. So it was just a comment she made off the cuff, which I won't reveal now because that'll give away the show. But yeah. You'll hear about it on Wednesday here. Okay, what your number 8, Joe? Because I think your number 8 is very close in context, anyways, to what my number 8 is.
Yeah, well, mine was, and to put this into context, this is about Barack Obama and. His method of saving the economy or getting Americans back to work or quote unquote work, let me just read this. This is from a State of the Union, and then I have the actual quote that I really want to get to. So this is the State of the Union, his final State of the Union address. Say a hardworking American loses a job. We shouldn't just make sure that he can get unemployment insurance. We should make sure that program encourages him to retrain for a business that's ready to hire him. If that new job doesn't pay as much, there should be a system of wage insurance in place so he could still pay his bills. Even if he's going from job to job, he should still be able to save for retirement and take his savings with him. That way, we make the new economy work better for everybody. Barack Obama, January of this year, January this year, the exact date, I don't know, it was January 16th or some kind of crap. It was, give me a second. January 13th.
Yeah, that's part of his agenda to
rebuild
the middle class.
Yes, rebuild the middle class and that job you had, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if we recently remember, he mocked Donald Trump, and in mocking him, he used the magic words, magic wand. And so I wanted to go ahead, because the magic wand, what magic wand do you have? So here we go. Let me go ahead and play this one.
That there are entire new industries that are starting to pop up. And you're actually seeing some manufacturers coming back to the United States because they're starting to realize, you know what, energy prices are lower here. Workers are better here. This is our biggest market. And so even though we offshored and went someplace else before, now it turns out we're better off going ahead and manufacturing here. But for those folks who've lost their job right now,
here you go,
because a plant went down to Mexico, that isn't going to make you feel better. And so what we have to do is to make sure that folks are trained for the jobs that are coming in now, because some of those jobs of the past are just not going to come back. And when somebody says, like the person you just mentioned, who I'm not going to advertise for, that he's going to bring all these jobs back. Well, how exactly are you going to do that? What are you going to do? There's no answer to it. He just says, well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal. Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have? And usually the answer is he doesn't have an answer.
Well, I guess we found out different now, haven't we, Mr. Matthews? Looks like Mr. Trump has a magic wand, and it's called a pen and a phone, maybe, and he's using it before he ever gets in the White House. Carrier is going to go ahead and keep some jobs around that were going to be gone. Boeing and Lockheed are now rethinking in their little contracts. Little contracts, huh? That's big air quotes there. Air figure quotes there.
Air Force One, Air Force Two.
Yeah, and F-35 strike fighter project.
Yeah.
Exactly. But, what magic wand does he have? I don't know, Barack. You spent 8 years running this crap into the ground, and if you don't get the right job, you lost your job. Well, that job may never come back. You know what? You just pricked the wrong career field, buddy. So you're just going to retrain yourself, because we're not going to help you get another job to keep that job here. It's just gone forever. Ha ha. Bye-bye.
Well, I would have liked to known, he was making a comment, well, how are you going to negotiate these jobs? How are you going to do that? Well, I was waiting to hear the companies that he said were coming back to the United States. I haven't heard of any companies coming back to the United States because energy is cheaper here. What a lame thing to say. There's nobody coming back to the United States. Certainly, if there was, the media would have been out there howling about it, about how great Obama's economy is and how people are starting to come back into the States to do their manufacturing and stuff. And then the other thing in that message, so you got to decipher liberal speak here. The other thing in the message was the reference to retraining. You know where that retraining was going to come from? Yeah, we're gonna use tax dollars to retrain people to do things like what? Clean air, energy, or maybe work for the government.
Yeah, these jobs of the future, because Democrat liberals know what the future holds for us because they're, Nostradamus and all that. They just know what the future holds.
Yeah, and here's the real nugget of this: the spiel about retraining here. Barack Obama's term, or when he was a community organizer in Chicago, one of the things that he was known for was creating training centers in Chicago and government subsidized training centers. And one of the things, I can't remember who it was that said this, but I was thinking I remember the quote, I just don't remember the source, is how many people do you know ever came out of an ROP or something like that and actually got a job? Okay, now there are vocations that you can do. I know I went to an ROP a couple years ago, and they trained mainly nurses, aides, EMT drivers, the emergency people, stuff like that, security guards, things like that. But these are not high-paying jobs.
Nope.
No, the average EMT worker makes about $10-12 an hour, and they got to work 12-hour shifts 6 days a week. That is not a resourceful job. But the point being is that what he wants to do, and what they found in these centers, that Obama was, an important source. He was one of the guys that really helped bring this money into these training centers, is that they basically didn't do anything. They bring people in there, and you sit around in front of a computer filling out a resume, and you get paid by tax dollars to do that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't increasing the employment rate in Chicago. I mean, we know that by the black community, their unemployment rate is at least double what it is in the rest of the country. So this whole idea of retraining, when I hear the word retraining, I immediately go to the Marxist idea of retraining, which is re-indoctrinating you to work for the state.
Yeah, exactly.
One way or the other. Whether it be in private sector or public sector, a government subsidized business is just one regulation away becoming a nationalized institution, and the people that work there then become basically by proxy government employees. That kind of stuff. So, yeah, it really falls in line with my number 8, but we got to go to our break here. When we come back, I'll lay out my number 8 for you. Very much in line with what Joe pointed out here, with Barack Obama claiming that, jobs are coming back, and it's all about the jobs that were lost aren't going to come back, but other jobs are coming, and we'll let the government retrain you for whatever it is we deem you're needed for. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back.
There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring. Middle America doesn't have an anger problem. It's got an idiot problem. The Conservative Syndicate, doing our part to eradicate the disease of idiocracy.
right, hey, we're back. The Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I am your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we're going through our top 10 liberal quotes today. We'll probably get about maybe halfway through, maybe pretty close, and we'll sew this up tomorrow, and then Wednesday we'll dedicate probably the most of the day to all the day to the conservative sound bites. I said conservative sound bites were hard to find this year because we found one thing that got this election revealed is a lot of people who think they're conservatives are not.
Who say they're conservatives or not.
Yeah, say they're conservatives or not. In the same vein, and I always like to throw this little cheap shot in here, the same way a lot of people say they're Christian, and really don't have an understanding of what that means. So
well, we also saw the delineation between being a Republican and a conservative, not necessarily mutually the same thing.
Yeah, in fact, really, in a lot of ways, not even close anymore. Being a Republican per se today is more like being a Democrat.
Yeah, being a Democrat of, let's say, 1963.
Yeah, really. Yeah, that's very close. That's very close. All right, now, Joe had listed Barack Obama's exhortation that jobs were coming back into the country, and it's all about retraining America because those jobs that were lost are lost. And,
more or less. But the thing was what does Donald Trump think he has? Some kind of magic wand or something?
Yeah. And as Joe said, he's already worked out some deals with some of the people that were leaving. How about Japan committing $50 billion to our economy?
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That kind of thing. And how about the talk out there? There is talk that China wants to look at some things a little bit differently now because of what? Donald Trump called up Taiwan. So
all he did was take a phone call, for crying out loud.
Yeah, the magic wand. Yeah, it's called a BlackBerry, Obama, and it's used for something other than watching ESPN.
Actually, it's called, even right now, it's just the threat of it, but actually the magic wand is called leadership.
Yep. Entrepreneurship combined with leadership, very good combination. Very deadly to the progressive agenda, which again is why Obama's trying all this last-minute stuff, trying to throw hurdles out there in front of Donald Trump. I'm anticipating. I'm really kind of excited to see how Trump just tears these barricades down. I think he's going to be able to pull a lot of this stuff off, and especially when it comes to immigration and the economy. So it's going to be an interesting next 4 years.
Well, as Barack Obama said, and just quite recently said, if you really want things to last, you have to do things through the legislative process and not through executive action, as he has done. So he knows exactly what's going to happen. Yeah. He's just trying to prepare people for when it happens. His supporters, his people, those of like mind Obama, because Donald Trump is going to tear through there. It's going to be shredder heaven.
Yep. Now, in line with what Joe was saying, my number 8 is very much along the same line. You'll remember Barack Obama at the Democratic National Convention this year spent almost all of his speech talking about himself, about his legacy, about his accomplishments, about just how much better off America was because he's been president. And then, of course, after that, he hung his coattail out there and said, by the way, bring Hillary in because she'll keep my stuff in place. She'll protect my legacy. Because that's what Hillary Clinton really ran on. She ran on the coattails of Barack Obama and her husband, not her own platform, not her own thing. And one of the quotes here in mine, well, I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to give away the bag here. I don't want to do that right now. Well, you'll hear about that on Wednesday. Anyway, so Barack Obama speaking at the DNC convention, I actually have 2 quotes that are kind of simultaneous or very synonymous with each other. So I'll just read them in context here. You'll remember this if you watched the DNC convention. By so many measures, our country is stronger and more prosperous than it was when we started, meaning Barack Obama's administration. And through every victory and every setback, I've insisted that change is never easy and never quick, that we wouldn't meet all of our challenges in one term or one presidency or even in one lifetime. That's Barack Obama DNC convention, July 27th, 2016. He also went on to say, America's promises do not come with a price tag. We meet our commitments. And that's one reason why almost every country on earth sees America as stronger and more respected today than they did 8 years ago. Okay? I'm listening to this, and it just kind of hit me hard. I was just watching this afternoon part of a documentary on the year 2016. And they are talking, they got the quote-unquote experts in there talking about the hacking of the DNC emails. And they did just a super job of blending the DNC hacking in with the WikiLeaks Podesta emails and basically just kind of putting it all together through the quote-unquote experts as all coming from the same source. Of course, they never did identify who that source was. They just said the closest they got was they said hackers that were from Russia. I think it was the closest they ever got. And then everything else was alleged and assessed and assumed, okay, and that it all came from Vladimir Putin. But anyway, the thing that they were talking about was how we're entering into a new age of cyber warfare.
Oh,
and the truth is that America is not prepared for this.
WikiLeaks has been around for 10 years now. 8 of those years, Barack Obama has had his administration in power, quote unquote. And so now all of a sudden, the last, 3 months of his presidency, it's now a problem.
Yeah. But yeah, that's exactly right. And to the real point they were trying to tell us is that America is no longer, the superpower that it used to be, because of the fact that the Russians
hold on there, John. Every country on earth sees America as stronger and more respected today than they did 8 years ago. Barack Obama, DNC convention, 27 July 2016.
Yeah, and so here the very same talking heads out there, liberal pundits, by the way, liberal people, and they're all saying, we're not prepared to handle this cyber war with Russia. They're up on us. The Chinese are up on us. Everybody's up on us, and we're not really in. One guy said it very well, and he was a staunch defender of Barack Obama, but he's saying basically we're not going to be able to deal with this.
You know what? They should stop looking at Russia and look at maybe some disgruntled employees at the Democrat National Committee.
Yeah,
that's where they should start looking. Okay.
Yeah, that's where you want to look.
You might find something there that might actually prove that no, it wasn't Vladimir Putin.
No, well, I'd even go as far. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I can see saying, like that Gusever 2.0 from Romania. Yeah. All right. Okay. I can sit there and say, yeah, maybe the hackers live in Russia. Maybe they are of Russian descent, but that doesn't mean that they're part of the Russian government operation or that Vladimir Putin is the one that put them in place.
Yes,
they could they could be the 400-pound Russian in the bedroom. Okay, so,
Boris, your borscht is done, Boris. Please come upstairs.
But when you sit there and you're trying to tell me, in one breath, you're telling me that this is a fact, in the same breath telling me, as far as you know, this is a fact, or these are alleged. They use the word a lot in this documentary. Allegations. It's alleged. The intelligence agencies, their assessment. Nothing with solid evidence of who the actual source of the hacks are. And so everything. But now, as we've said with liberals, you start out with accusations. You start out with innuendo. You start out with all these things, and soon enough, it'll just become fact. We don't need any evidence to back it up. We just think that's the way it is. And there is the atmosphere created by a president who does what? Well, this is the way it should be, and it should be done now because we don't have time. We got to do it now. Got to do now, and this is the way I see. It's the right thing to do. It's what I say we should do.
What do you think? I have a magic wand or something?
Yeah. You got a magic wand. I got the magic wand. Okay.
Hey, put that thing away, buddy.
Yeah, we're coming up on the end of the show here. We'll probably have to get to the rest of these tomorrow. You want to, again, check out our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. We thank you for the loyalty that you've shown us this year. We'll be thanking you for the rest of the week here, and we're looking forward to a great 2017. So having said that, we're going to sign off for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We wish you a good evening, and God bless. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hako, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.